Crab Podcast. I am your host today, Adam, and I am joined by the best beard in the business, Mr. Vince Haley. Vince, how are you doing?
Doing great, Adam. Wonderful day for a podcast.
Always a wonderful day for the podcast. Always. And I need to come back to that in a minute because that reminds me of something. But and to the pun master general himself, the retro king, Mr. Terry Jeffs. How are you doing, Terry?
I'm good. It's been snowing in the UK today.
It's been
on and off. Have you been getting this as well, Adam?
Yeah, well, I got it yesterday.
So I got a little something to warm me up.
Uh-oh. What you got?
Oh.
Would you look at that?
Hey! Jack Daniels Tennessee Fire buddies.
Have you tried it yet?
I have tried it. Yeah, I was just drinking a little bit, but now it tastes good. It tastes real good.
It's such a good taste. Yeah. What is the show? It's been bugging me. It's an American show where it says it's a lovely day in the neighborhood.
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood?
That's the one.
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
That song is, for some reason, has been in my head today, and I've never when I'm by the computer, and I'm like, what is that from? Mr. Rogers. We obviously don't have that in the UK, but
I didn't really even know about it, but I've seen
Hanks.
the Tom Hanks film, and I really want to see it.
Yeah,
but that's where the meme comes from, right? The clown with the clown mask. Isn't that him? With Mr. Rogers when he's put? I'm sure it's Mr. Rogers when he puts that clown mask on. Is that not him?
I have no idea what you're talking about, to be honest.
You carry on. I'm going to Google this shit.
Right. So you don't have Mr. Rogers. Do you at least have Bob Ross?
Oh,
yeah.
We have Bob
Ross.
Ross.
Okay,
no. Bob Ross isn't on TV. Well, it is actually. You can watch Bob Ross on TV, but it's mainly just people watch it online.
Yeah, through like Twitch, right? Or whatever.
But no, we did have Bob Ross was never big over here, like he was everyone was
at the time when Bob Ross was big.
Yeah,
yeah.
But but yeah, I mean it definitely. Well, for me personally, it just kind of blew up over here. Yeah, particularly when it went onto Twitch. I mean, I got addicted to watching Bob Ross on Twitch when it first went on there, and it was just so hilarious watching the chat. When he'd make a mark over the painting, everyone's like, ruined, yeah. and then it'll be saved. Like good game, great stuff.
Fantastic.
Bob Ross.
So to round out the Holy Trinity, you had Bob Ross, you didn't have Mr. Rogers. What about Reading Rainbow?
What?
LeVar Burton. Reading Rainbow? No Reading Rainbow.
LeVar Burton from Star Trek?
Yeah. He hosted a kids show called Reading Rainbow, where he would read books to you.
I don't know. I've just dropped a link in
Jack
Slack.
And Nori, I guess.
Got nothing on that one.
It's a GIF.
Oh, yep. I've absolutely seen that before.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've seen that. That's horrifying.
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, that's Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers, though.
Yeah. So you see that all the time now. It's here's me waiting for like that would be Adam posting on Twitter. Oh, here's me waiting for Rockstar to announce GTA 6 at E3.
Who's at E3 this year?
Absolute clown.
Who's at E3 this year, Terry?
Yes. Yeah, well, it Take Two have announced. First of all, come on. I mean, obviously we're going to talk about this in the news, but we're getting E3 this year, baby. It's back. They've listened to the demand of the people.
As soon as we start a company, fine, we'll give you what you want. Shifty Crab are here now. We'll give them the content that they want.
Finally,
E3 is back. No more dragged out 5 months of release, of videos to watch. We'll get it in 4 nights, sorry, and we'll work ourselves to the bone and love every second of it. Cannot wait. Especially with now, I've just found out Take Two are going to be there. Yeah.
Let's not get ourselves too hyped about that.
No. The hype train hasn't just left the station. We're at full speed.
It's gone. Oh man,
we're in the tunnel. We're on our way. This is like the bullet train.
Just shoveling in the coal. It's just we're going. Come on.
Yeah. I've got it on my face. I'm sweating. I'm there. You can't lose with this. It can either be No, where you can lose. I swear to God, if it's just
You
more
can.
GTA 5 news, I think that's it. Is that out before E3? Is the remaster out?
Have they
before
given it a date
E3?
yet?
I think.
Who can
Yeah, I
say?
don't know if
I
they
don't think
have.
so.
I'll have to have a look at
Who
that in a
can
minute.
say what games are out at any time this year? So
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything, does it?
no.
But yeah, no, I'm excited for E3. I'm really excited to be able to do a predictions video as well. I think we'll have to probably roll that into the
Bingo
podcast a
card.
little bit nearer the time. We'll do a little bit of a bingo card. And you can watch along with us live as well, hopefully. And hear our expert opinions. Unless it's the Nintendo showcase where me and Terry usually go, the fuck's this? Who's that?
Yeah.
Like, what is this game? Like,
No, I genuinely I'm so looking forward to that though, because like E3 is my highlight of the year, like for gaming. Like that obviously it's everyone's for gaming news, but like I will religiously watch each show, and I always stay up late for this. I know we're not getting Sony one, but I would stay up late until 2 a.m. to watch the Sony one. But it will be cool to be able to watch some of these shows and have conversations while watching them and react to them. And yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And we'll be covering it all. Like every last drop of news will be there. But it's been quite as you just touched on it there, it's been a bit of a weird week, like especially weather-wise. Like 1 minute you're back in winter, next minute it's summer. Like for us, especially over here, like there's been earthquakes in America. I believe was that this yesterday there was an earthquake in America somewhere. I believe
Probably.
maybe
I mean, it's America.
somewhere in California. I think.
Put your ear to the ground, Vince. What do you hear?
Yeah, what do you hear?
Absolutely nothing. It's hard to
Probably
hear
start you
everybody,
barking.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
You
been a
gotta
bit of
cover up a lot of sound.
It's been a bit of a weird week. Easter weekend, it's like yeah.
Going back
I
to the
suppose
weather,
Easter over here. Go on.
To like today, absolutely mental, mental. Like I look out the window 1 minute, and it's like sun's out. It looks like a summer's day, even though it still was a bit chilly out there. But and then literally you turn your head around again, and it's like full on blizzard. And then 10 minutes later, it's like sun's out again. It's like, oh wow, it's got. And then again, another 10 minutes later, blizzard. It was just like that all day. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, it's been walking the dog. I think I went through about 4 different like weather zones. It was and it doesn't help. Like the sun just seems to be stupidly bright. I'm gonna put a picture into Slack. Like when we lived at our old house, we bought a blind that was to go in the living room. It had a small window to the side as well as the big windows and the patio doors and that. So, but it wasn't the right size, so it just stayed boxed. But previously, since moving in here, we didn't have a blind, so I've had a big cardboard box basically covering the window. So when I'm working during the day, it's not bright on the screen and stuff like that. But we found the blind. I was like, oh, that'll fit. So I put it up. I'm going to send a picture into Slack, which is for you guys. This is the most pointless fucking blind I have ever
come straight through
in my life. Like I put it in Slack.
Why?
That's like a net curtain. What is that?
This is supposed to be, and it says on the box, a blackout blind.
No way, it's not blackout blind.
Absolutely not.
You got it ripped off.
Yeah.
I hope you left it. Where'd you get these from? Amazon?
Dunelm.
Oh man.
Yeah, Dunelm. Like so, basic furniture store for non-UK listeners. Yeah, does not fit. Well, it fits, but does not do. It's not fit for purpose. Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's not blackout, is it? That's
like
definitely not blackout.
Yeah.
So, and do you know what? We were going to use that blind in the old house to block the light hitting the TV. Yeah, that's not going to have done a job, is it? Really? Like, ridiculous. Like it's nighttime now. Obviously, it's 11:30, and I can still see out. I can still see the roof of the house. Like it does nothing. Like
yeah.
So yeah, like, but it looks a bit tired in having a cardboard box there, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's been a bit of a nightmare when I'm trying to work and it's just shining on my screen a little bit. But Hey ho.
I had a really at my last house in my other gaming room. I had a similar problem because I had a window in the room, and obviously didn't want any light where I'm gaming. Come on, don't want to see daylight. So I needed a blackout blind, and I had a really cool. I don't know where I found it, somewhere online, but it was a blackout blind, a white one, and it was the Mario mushroom, but made up of all different game controllers and Game Boys and stuff like that. In red, it looked really cool. It was a really cool design. Get something like that.
Well, welcome to our new show where we talk about interior design. What I'm going to do is I have a 2.5 meter long desk. So it's basically the whole length of the wall. So where this hand is halfway down my desk, and it continues going, and then it's all the way down here, all the way to the end. But I'm also in that photo where you can see that there's my keyboard, which I use my MIDI keyboard to hook up to the computer. I'm going to put the desk's going to continue around that corner, so it's going to turn into an L shape, and all my recorded equipment is going to go in the corner that is. So it should give me more room for work and stuff like that. So I can have my iPad set up for sketching, and I can have everything set up, and then when I bring in the Elgato Stream Deck and stuff like that, it means that I can do stuff a little bit easier, because at the moment I'm very condensed in the middle. So I just had to get an office set up, basically. It's a work in progress. But I will get there, and the light won't bother me because I'll be at a different angle. So, fine. But Vince, how's your week been?
Yeah. Oh, it's been fine. Allergy season here in America. It's awful. I hate it. You're talking about how it was snowing earlier. It is currently 6 o'clock and it's 78 degrees outside. It is fucking hot here. It's
degrees.
Ridiculous.
Harry, what's that in English?
Infinity. What is that in
78
English?
degrees in English?
I will tell you. In English. In Celsius?
Yeah, in Celsius.
I'm going to look it up right now.
I'm
That
guessing
doesn't help because that doesn't give me a chance.
22?
No, it can't. Well, that's not hot.
I don't know what the maths is.
Let me see. I don't know what the math is either on that because, we here in America use Fahrenheit.
You use the wrong scale, correct?
That would be 25.
That was close.
English folk.
Wasn't too far off.
Mm-hmm. Not too far.
Put it out of 22, but yeah. That's quite warm for spring. We had Vince, have you ever heard of the island called Ibiza?
What? Ibiza?
Ibiza.
The like Ligma?
Or Ibiza.
Yeah, you might call it Ibiza, but it's Ibiza. It's one of the Balearic Islands, so it's south of Spain, Mediterranean, like hot island. One day last week it was hotter here than there. This is how England compares its weather. Where are we hotter than? So last week it was as hot as there. It was a very hot day. It was lovely. And then this week it's snowing and blizzards and ice cold again.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Like literally the other day during the Easter holidays was like pretty much almost like sunbathing in the garden. It was so nice. And then the following morning it was snowing. It's just crazy.
I've gone from shorts for my dog walk to gloves for my dog walk. It's not been great. Do you know what I've realized as well? This kind of goes on something anyway. That the weather really affects my moods more than I thought. I think I realized that more through lockdown as well. If it's raining and grey for a few days on the trot, I can feel my mood drop. But then the one day that you have a nice sunny day, my mood instantly picks back up. I know I've always been a sunny person. I spent a lot of my working life abroad and on beaches, and whenever I'd have to go to training, which would be on the Isle of Wight, which is like a southern island of England. Just at the very bottom, we'd go there for training, and I'd hate it because it'd just be grey and miserable for like 6 weeks. and my mood would just plummet. I used to think of it as just because I wasn't on a beach, but I think it's just affected by the weather. I'm not a winter person, even though I love Christmas and I love snow. Hate grey and rain. I'm not a cold weather person, I don't think. And I think that's why this last week my mood has just gone up and down, up and down, up and down because of this fucking weather. Like 1 minute it's bright and sunny. I'm like, yes, lockdown's nearly over, you know. And then the next day it's grey, and I'm like, well, what's the point? We'll be back in lockdown in like 2 weeks, and it's just up and down, up and down. And I don't know. Do you guys get affected by the weather at all with your moods, or do you think you're kind of nonchalant to it?
I think I'm kind of similar to you, and I like you know, sunny weather and hot weather and things like that. But at the same time, I do like it when it's, you know, when you've got when it's like really. I like it when you're indoors and you're gaming or something like that, and it's like raining outside, and it's like got that kind of coziness. But when you've got to go out in it, then you get really pissed off. But say like if I'm at the extreme of either end of it, I don't like it. If it's just like I can't stand it when it's like heat wave, because then that really pisses me off, because it's like there's just no escape from it. There's just nothing you can do about it when it's a heat wave. At least even if it's like really cold, you can kind of just like wrap up and, you know, get warm. There's ways. But yeah, it's a tough one really, because like I do like the mixture of the different seasons and things like that. But I guess it does have an effect in some way.
Yeah. What about you, Vince?
It's kind of hard to say because I'm naturally a very warm person. So when it gets really hot, I generally feel miserable and I hate everything. Like, it's a weird thing because I do enjoy like the beach and it being like really sunny and nice and all that. But when I just get that, like Terry said, that heat wave, it just gets really unnecessarily hot, and I'm just like, fuck this. I'm done.
It's like
I want to stay inside. I want to be cool. Like, I don't want to be out here anymore. Fuck this. I know it's the beach, but I want to go somewhere where it's cool. Don't want to deal with this shit right now. But like, yeah, I love snow too. Like during the cooler seasons, I think it's kind of where I like it best, unless it's like too cold. But yeah, I guess my only problem is just heat in general.
Yeah, I don't mind the heat. Like, the only time I'm not a great fan of the heat is obviously if you're in bed and you can't cool down. That's never good for anybody. I don't think anyone likes that. But yeah, I don't mind the heat during the day. I'm quite happy to just walk around in the heat. If like I'll go outside, I don't like it if I can't cool the house down, I guess. Because if you want to sit down, you don't want to be sticky, but in the heat. But I don't know. I feel like what's been one of the good things about lockdown necessarily is you have to look at. I think it was a good time to look inwards, which sounds like such a shit-arsery sort of thing to say, look inwards, but and realize who you are as a person a little bit more. Because obviously I'm quite an independent person. So before lockdown, I was socializing a lot. I'd be at work. So, but when you have to spend every day with someone, like much more intense, even though we're married and stuff like that, it's still a very much more intense. You have to work out. I had to be more conscious of if I was in a bad mood or if I just wanted to be left alone. And I think that was a thing for me to learn during lockdown, when I was able to just turn around and say, I'm in a bad mood today. Best probably just leave me alone. Let me crack on with stuff. I'm not going to be fun to be around. And it was the first time really in my life that I was able to recognize that. If you told me like 2 years ago, oh, you're in a bad mood, I'm like, I'm not in a bad mood. What are you on about? But when I clearly was in a bad mood, I just didn't realize it. But I think through lockdown, I've been able to, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure sometimes I don't get it right. I'm sure my wife would tell you 100 times that I don't get it right. But I've been able to maybe understand my moods a lot better. Not that I'm a bad mood person anyway. I'm not. But those days when I am, being able to recognize that. And I don't know if that is the same with anybody else, that they've been more conscious of their behavior, like if you're having a mentally down day or if you're just in a bad mood, are you more aware of it because you're in such close quarters with someone? Was it just me?
Yeah. No, I'm the same. I mean, I'm the same as you. That I'm very independent as a person. Like my wife always like jokes about it because she's pretty much like the opposite of me with that. Same. But like I've always been, I can enjoy my own company and you know, and sometimes I just need to, and I've noticed this throughout lockdown. I'm generally most days I'm pretty cool, but like sometimes I just like, okay, I just need to go somewhere like now, just like either if it's like if it's here like down here by myself, or just go out for a walk or just get some like kind of clear my head kind of thing, and like it's sometimes you just kind of need that, and especially obviously with everything that's been going on over the last year or so, like you just kind of need to just kind of get out of those four walls. But yeah, you can kind of, you definitely, being at home all the time, you get to, I felt it got more of a gauge on it. Whereas when you're kind of just stuck in your normal busy everyday life of like doing 9 to 5 and rushing one thing, that you don't really get the time to kind of sit and notice these things as much and reflect and stuff. But when you're just kind of, you're at home and it's just yourself and the wife and the kids or whatever, like you got time to really kind of understand what's going on a little bit more, and like you said, how the weather might be affecting your mood or whatever's going on in the house, or definitely.
What events?
Interesting. Well, I have not been in lockdown because I live in America, and we have lockdown for like a month.
Yeah, you guys don't.
But even then,
really
like
many limitations now, do you?
No, I mean, especially the state I live in. But when lockdown did hit back in March of last year, I was only out of work for a month, but my wife wasn't because she's a healthcare worker. So it was just me at home by myself. So I didn't really get that much time to really sit and reflect on anything. You know, it was mostly just trying to keep myself alive until she came back home. Basically, you know, playing video games, doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, we didn't really have that time to sit in close quarters and kind of self-reflect on much of anything, really. And even like after that month, work called me back and like, we're remodeling the store, come back in. So it wasn't really like I had all this time to sit here and think about who I am as a person. I didn't really, because America is America and it kind of sucks.
Yeah, well, I think it's the way that I'm getting through lockdown, like, because obviously it's been a long time here, is off and on, we had a little bit of a break, is to try and find positives throughout it. Yeah. And one of those positives, I think in some ways it's been detrimental to mental health, because I don't like feeling like I can't do stuff. I don't like that feeling of being limited. But I think it has helped a lot in understanding my own, like what pushes my buttons and knowing what they're going to be, so I can avoid those situations. Because like my wife is a really, like, it's very hard to piss her off. You know, she's usually really calm. Work might stress her out and stuff like that, but she's a very understanding person. So, and she's very susceptible to people's moods. So she'll know when I'm in a bad mood before I will. You know, like, so what I've been really trying to focus on is knowing those things before she does, because I'm competitive. Like, I'll know this first. I'll know if I'm in a bad mood. Like, but she's always right. Well, usually she's right. And she doesn't watch this, so I can say all these things, and to her I can tell her she's wrong, so that's fine. But yeah, like, and I think us spending more time together, which has been great, has made it so I've been able to take what was probably really needed, because I've been 100 miles an hour for a long time. Like, okay, what's that done as a toll to my mental health and to my physical well-being, and really start to work on opening up about those things. And I think that's been a big thing for me through lockdown, is opening up more about mental health and the struggles that I have and things that really affect me. And I think reading into it. And I think that's such an important thing, is trying to talk about it. You see it quite a lot where people just hide it and they think everything's normal or they're weird. And that's not the case. I think we just spoke about it there, where I said I'm noticing my moods more and having to, and understanding it, and I need to find my own space. So I thought, am I just weird for that? But then Terry turns around and he says, no, I'm the same. I need to take a step out of it and just have some time to myself and you're independent. And I think that's such an important thing in all this, is when you can have these talks about mental health, that you can understand that there's probably a lot of people feeling exactly the same way. And sometimes talking about it and rationalizing it is such a important step, because it can help you. Because me and my wife talk about it, and sometimes it's an uncomfortable conversation, because you don't. It is hard to talk about mental health, I think, and that's more of it. But when you do talk about it and you do look at it in a open and honest way, saying how is something affecting me, you learn from that 100%, I think. And it's the one thing I will take from lockdown, is that I think when I come out of this, I'll be in a better place at understanding myself than when I went into it. So I think that's my positive to take away from this experience. I suppose your positive, Vince, is that you got a month off work and got to play a lot of games, and then you went back and
yeah, that was about it.
Yeah.
Really.
And
So Vince, just going back to what you're saying, that you never went into lockdown. So what has been the situation where you are then? Like how has things? What's the protocol? What's changed, and how are you guys doing it over there?
It's very odd, I'd have to say, because essentially what happened when we first went into lockdown was a lot of places did close. Like restaurants were only doing like takeout only. Certain stores, like one of the stores that I work at, was doing like curbside pickup. So we didn't have anyone besides managers in the store. Like I was on furlough, which basically just meant that I got 2 weeks of pay, and then after that, oh well. But it happened to a lot of people too, because a lot of people, when lockdown hit, it affected a lot of things. A lot of stuff closed. A lot of stuff, remained open to a very limited capacity. It was basically just home, grocery store, home. That was it. You could still go out, like Walmart and stuff was open. A bunch of different grocery stores were still open because they were essential, just like hospitals and stuff. So like we were in that mode for about 2, maybe 3 months. That first month, where I was furloughed and really had to go into work because they were essentially closed. But then the company decided that they wanted to bring some people back to, like I said, remodel the store. So I got brought back to help with that. And then I think that took about a month or so. And then they lifted some of the restrictions to where some stores could open at certain hours, limited capacity, and all that stuff. Then it kind of kept on that for a while, like where stores would either have to have that limited capacity, or you'd have to have like the curbside pickup for a lot of things. And restaurants still remained closed except for takeout or delivery, things like that. And now where we're at is we did have a curfew of, I think, like 9 or 10 p.m. I can't remember which one it was. And I've never heard anything of that being enforced, really. Like, you didn't hear anybody say they got pulled over because they were out past curfew or anything. But that has been extended now, or lifted completely. I don't remember which. So, a lot of stores are, extending their hours now because that's changed. Some restaurants you can dine in now. Others have remained to just, still be carry out only because of limited capacity and stuff like that. Because if you walk into a restaurant, it's basically they have, either booths sectioned off or some tables removed. Like, so you can be like, I think it was supposed to be 10 feet apart from tables. So you to have room for people to move around and stuff. The store I work at, which is Barnes and Noble, we have a cafe, and we used to have like, which is basically just a Starbucks that also sells food. But we had tables and chairs up there for people to sit, and, drink and eat and whatever. But when we were going to reopen, we had to take, well, before lockdown, we had to take like all those tables and chairs down because people couldn't sit and eat. That was one of the restrictions. But after lockdown, we moved like 5 or 6 tables back, and they had to be 10 feet apart. People could only sit there for 30 minutes. You have to keep your mask on unless you're eating or drinking, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it really varies state by state, because you look at other states and they're still like almost completely locked down. You see others lifting mask mandates now, having it be like store prerogatives, which is insane because now you're putting that pressure on stores to try and enforce that. And even then, like I mentioned Walmart before, like going there to grocery shop, there was a line out the door because of, they could only let certain number of people in at a time. You had to wait for you to come out. Obviously, that's not the case anymore because I guess that's changed. But you still have people literally standing out there handing out masks, and you still have people refusing to take them because, idiots are going to be idiots. It's weird. It's such a weird thing, especially here in the South. It's just this refusal to, I guess, help others. Essentially, yeah.
It's just I think it's that kind of it's like similar to the gun thing. It's like that freedom. So you can't like tell me what to do because then you're like taking away my freedom. Yeah, like and all that.
Yeah, makes no sense.
But we still get that over here. Like it's like we with the the Brexiters and all that kind of stuff. It's like there's a load. I've not seen it personally, but I know that there's videos of like people going into supermarkets refusing to wear a mask. There's all these like COVID deniers and stuff like that. You get it everywhere.
Yeah, because I had that happen to me when walking into Walmart one time. The person behind me was walking up, and they got to the person handing out the mask, and she literally said, "No, you can't make me wear it," and just kept walking to the store. Like, why? I mean, first of all, it's their job to hand out these masks. Don't be a dick in the first place. And second of all, like, you really got to be that bitchy about it. Like, you got to be that kind of person that's just like, fuck it, I'll get people who can easily die from this sick because I don't want to wear a piece of paper over my mouth. Makes no sense.
Some people are dickheads.
Crazy stuff.
Just wear the fucking mask, man. Like,
what is the big deal?
Why is it going to affect you, man? You're going to wear it for like half an hour while you're in the store. Just wear the fucking thing,
right?
Like, it just annoys me. Like, it's a conversation that I can't really have because I just get so angry with it because it's just like you're just being selfish cunts. That's all you're being. Like, you just are. Like, if you won't wear a mask for half an hour because it hurts your feelings. Like, because someone can't make you. You're a petulant child. Grow up and take responsibility for other people. Like, we're all on this planet together. You might not have COVID, but you might have COVID and someone else doesn't wear a mask. They get ill and it's your fault. Like, it just... And the annoying thing is the world should get better from this with the vaccines that are getting spread, that are getting put out everywhere, and I'm sure they're going to become an obligation. Even in America, it'll be with the vaccine passports that are being rumored around, and that's important that people get vaccinated. But the people that didn't wear the masks, in about a year's time, when this has become a more controllable thing and becomes just like the flu, we'll be like, you see, it was all fuss for nothing. Look. But it isn't. It's because of the fucking vaccine. And it's because most of the people actually did what they were supposed to do and wore the fucking masks. Like, but they'll claim it. They'll say, "Oh well, look, we're still here. You know, I'm still here, and I didn't wear a mask for any of it." Like, no, fuck off, Karen. Like, you know, just wet. Oh, it just annoys me. Like, and you can see exactly what will happen with the little red hats on. Like, and there'll be you know, it annoys me. It annoys me so much. Let's talk about games. Games are much better.
Yeah.
Terry, you sent a thing through to our Slack today. IGN did a list of the top 25 original PlayStation games. I've had a look through the list. I don't know if Vince, you've had time. I know you've been working today as well, but it's quite a cool list. I'm going to run through them quickly for people who don't have it. I just what I really want to go. I just want to have a little bit of a quick conversation on this. Do you agree with, like, let's say the top couple, like the top 3, maybe? Do you think that they deserve to be in the top 3? And is there a single game that you can think of that isn't on this list that you think deserves to be on the list? It's kind of like what I thought we could talk about. So number 25 is Parappa the Rapper. 24 is Oddworld AIDS Odyssey. 23 is Crash Bandicoot 3 Warp. Number 2 is Spider-Man. Number 21 is Mega Man Legends 2. 20 is Ape Escape. 19 is Crash Team Racing. 18 is Siphon Filter. 17 is Soul Reaver Legacy of Kain. 16 is Final Fantasy Tactics. 15 is Medal of Honor Underground. 14 is Final Fantasy... What Final Fantasy is that? What? 1X.
9.
That's
9.
9, 9. 13 is Silent Hill. 12 is Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. 11 is Driver. 10 is Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back. 9 is Vagrant Story. 18 is Tekken 3. 7 is Resident Evil 2. 6 is Tomb Raider. 5 is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. 4 is Gran Turismo 2. 3 is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. 2 is Final Fantasy 7. And number 1 is Metal Gear Solid. So they're the top 25. What do we think of that top 3? Let's talk about that. So you've got Metal Gear Solid at 1, Final Fantasy 7, and Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Do you think that's a solid top 3?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not bad.
It's like hard to argue against any of those. I'd say
I'd have put Tomb Raider ahead of Castlevania.
If it was my personal list, I'd put Tomb, but I think I don't know. Like, I haven't played Symphony of the Night, but I know how highly regarded that game is and how that is the best Castlevania game, and it's always been, you know, revered as one of the best, like one of the very, very top PlayStation 1 games. So I can see how it's on it, where it is. But and Final Fantasy 7 and Metal Gear Solid, I think those are the two big ones, I think, for the PS1.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Yeah.
How's that? Vince, what do you think about this?
I mean, it's not a terrible list. It's nice to actually see some Resident Evil love on there.
Mm-hmm.
I would have probably at least put 1 on here as well. But, I mean, we've got like 2 Crash Bandicoot games, 3 Final Fantasy games. I mean, 1 still probably not the best, but I think it needs more love than that. I definitely think it would be higher than probably Crash Team Racing. Surprisingly, that's actually on the list.
Yeah,
let's go.
I think Driver should have been a bit higher up. Driver,
no Grand Theft Auto. No Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, that was a big shock. Number 2 is a big shock as well. Grand Theft Auto was going to be the games that I thought should have been on this list. At least the first Grand Theft Auto. Ridge Racer.
No, Ridge Racer.
No, Ridge Racer. But then we've got Gran Turismo 2 on there, and
I prefer Ridge Racer to Gran Turismo 2. Personally.
Yeah, I was a big Ridge Racer fan, but looking back now, Gran Turismo 2, I would say that is the best. That is the best driving game on the PlayStation 1. It's amazing for its time. Oddworld Apes Odyssey, glad to see that on the list. Spider-Man was fantastic at the time. At the time when that came out, that was the best like superhero game out there.
Where it was
so
just
cool.
clouds above the. Was it just clouds and you just went the building
Wait,
tops?
It was you just like shoot your web out and it just like you never saw it was attaching to. You just kind of shooting into the sky. But no, it really was good for the time and very the style was very similar to the comics. It was really cool. Ape Escape, although I never played Ape Escape back in the day, I know people that didn't absolutely loved it.
Speed Freaks. Speed Freaks was a great game.
No. Siphon Filter.
No Wipeout.
That's a good shout. No Wipeout. Yeah, Wipeout. I would have liked to have seen Wipeout, at least Wipeout 2097 on there. That deserved the spot. Siphon Filter. So 2 games here, which would be a good shout for the bringing the franchise back. Siphon Filter and Soul Reaver: Legacy of Kain. That is a great game.
Yeah,
I absolutely loved Soul Reaver. Crystal Dynamic in the early days. Final Fantasy Tactics. Good one to be on the list. Although I'm not the biggest Tactics fan.
Isn't that one kind of divisive among Final Fantasy fans?
What's that? Sorry.
Isn't Tactics divisive amongst Final Fantasy fans?
No, I don't think Tactics is as got as big as a fan base, but I think it's generally regarded as one of the best games. It came out the year after 7, but not as many people played it as 7 because I don't think it came out in Europe actually at that time. I think it had an American release, but I was always trying to get it and could not get it over here. But Final Fantasy 9, which is at number 14, is like that and Final Fantasy 7 are my 2 favorite games of all time. So if it was me rating my PS1 games, that would be there at number 2. But it's just to me just a perfect game.
It's an interesting list though.
Yeah, it is. Silent Hill's there, Gyro, Crash Bandicoot. Vagrant Story. So Vagrant Story I played a little bit of back in the day, but that's a game that I've never played through. And it's funny, actually, that is one of the games, obviously with the Vita store closing, I was eyeing up some purchases that I need to get before it goes. And I don't think I own Vagrant Story on the PS1. And I imagine it's very hard to get hold of now. So I think I'm going to grab the PS1 Classics version of that on the store, just so I have it to play through it, because that is very weird one actually, because it's a Square Enix game, and the world that it's set in is the same world that Final Fantasy 12 is set in. So it's got the same artist that did the work behind it, stuff like that. But yeah, it's a really cool game. Yeah, good to see Tomb Raider on there, Resident Evil 2. I think overall pretty solid list, but there's a few omissions on there. I think
they nailed number 1 though.
I think they
solid,
I mean, for me, it would be Final Fantasy 7, but I can see, as I was pitching Metal Gear Solid for best game exclusive, I was pitching. I could see why it would be chosen as the best PlayStation 1 game. But yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't see that at the bottom though. Did you see that, Adam? Honorable mentions.
Just saw that then.
Yeah, Ironhounder, Dino Crisis. Now, I tell you what, that's one that I was very, very close to choosing as my to revive as franchise. Yeah, because Dino Crisis absolutely. I was playing some a couple of weeks ago actually on the PS1, and that's a game I'd love to see back. Brian Lara, Shane Warne Cricket, Need for Speed Host. Yeah, there's a few there. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen a Wipeout on there, or a Ridge Racer, or I don't know what else.
Not too much. Well, I mean, Grand Theft Auto probably didn't really find its stride until 3, though, right?
Yeah, but it was still damn good in the day.
It was still very, very good and very big on the PS1. And London was really good on there as well.
It was never like pushing anything technically, but that was the first game. Yeah, that was the first game where I truly felt like I was playing like a sandbox game. Like, I was like, wow, like you can just drive around, you can go anywhere. Yeah, like you can do what you want. You can just steal cars. I never did any of the missions. I just go around and steal. Go on rampages. Yeah,
it was great. I think, yeah, I'd have liked to have seen Driver a little bit further up the list. I think Driver was mainly Driver was just known for obviously its ridiculously hard tutorial level that you have
Oh
to
my
get through.
god, I'm so glad you just said that.
Parking lot garage.
I was just gonna say to you, when's the last time you played Driver? Because I started playing it a few years ago. On just plugged in the PS1, started playing with some friends, and we could not get past the opening tutorial bit.
So hard.
We couldn't get past it. Have you played it, Vince?
No, I don't think I actually played Driver.
You literally start off with your car in this kind of like multi-story like garage, and it basically like has a checklist of things to do, like like hit drive back forward, do a 3-point turn or a 360 spin. And until you do all these things, you can't literally start the game. And we literally couldn't do it. And
it's so hard.
And I'm thinking, how did I even play this back in the day? How did I even get past this?
And it's timed. It's timed. Yeah. If you hit anything, it's over. If you hit anything, it's over. It's timed, and the time limit is punishing.
Yeah.
Like you basically have to have a flawless run to do it. And then the kicker is when you start playing the game, you don't use any of these fucking things that you learned. The game's really like you just drive and turn. Like there's
But that was the original like 3D Grand Theft Auto, like it was like, driving it was as close you got back then.
It's still good, but I tell you what, that's a franchise that would be interesting if they brought it back. Driver, like really good car mechanics. I know they did the one was it Driver San Francisco, the one where it was like
where you could possess the different cars, and we had Driver 3, which was
there's Driver 2, which was good.
Driver 2.
I thought San Francisco was the newest one.
Yeah, but before that we had. I mean, there might have even been one before that, but I know we had a Driver 3, which was on the Xbox and PS2, but it wasn't very good, I don't think.
No, it wasn't great.
Yeah, but Driver 1 and Driver 2 were great back in the day, because Driver 2 is the first one you could get out of your car and run around.
Really badly, but you could get out and run around. Yeah, it was great.
Good. And then GTA 3 came along and changed everything.
And all over it.
Yeah.
I thought we'd have. It's not a debate. This, I think we have to work together on this and come to an agreement. I thought what would be interesting to do is if we took over Marvel, okay, and we decided, you know what, we're going to reboot Marvel. They've got too big for the boots. We're going to go back to phase 1, okay, and we're going to look at the original actors that are in the Avengers, like the first Avengers film, and we're going to add Thanos in there just for a bit of fun. We have to recast the original MCU. So you've got Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Captain America, Black Widow, Nick Fury, Vision / Jarvis, Hawkeye, and we added Thanos in there as the and Loki. Sorry.
Interesting.
So what we're going to now, I'm going to give us a few little rules in this. You can keep one actor or actress to stay in their role, but it can only happen once, and we have to all agree. You don't have to do that, but everyone else we have to recast to what we think would make a better film.
So we're all keeping
better film.
We're all keeping Robert Downey Jr., right?
Are we? We'll have to have a discussion about that. We'll have to have a discussion about that. So I thought this is what we'd do. So I've written the list in order, so we can maybe go through in that order and have a bit of a discussion. Iron Man is number 1 on the list. So do we all vote to keep Robert Downey Jr.? Or if we don't, let's start to throw out some names on who could play Iron Man / Tony Stark.
I mean, he's probably the hardest one, right? Because he really made Iron Man his character. So it's kind of, it would be really difficult to replace someone who can, one, throw out that like quippy, banter that, Robert Downey Jr. is known for.
Yeah.
And kind of made that Iron Man character into, I don't know.
To me, Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark, and Tony Stark is Robert Downey Jr. Like he like more than any of the other characters, I feel like he as an actor, defined who that character is.
So we can do that and agree, but that means we are using straight away. We are burning our. We can bring.
I mean, I don't know.
I
mean, let's have that. I mean, is there anyone that you guys can think of where you thought, oh no, you can't? They can't be recasted. And if you think you can recast Robert Downey Jr., who you gonna?
No, it's
playing.
I think you're right. It's a very, very difficult choice. For now, let's lock it. We won't lock it in. I'll write in here that we are going to keep RDJ.
Keep RDJ.
So next on my list is Thor. So we have to get rid of Chris Hemsworth.
That's an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And all of his muscles and charm. And we have to bring somebody else in. Who are we going to bring in to play Earth's mightiest hero?
So
do a good Thor though. Yeah.
This is the thing. It's very hard because the actors they've got, we've grown up going, this is our. But we have to change them. We're Marvel. Yeah. They want it mixing up. They want it different. But they want to do the same story, but just different actors.
Same story, different actors. Add Thanos.
Thanos will be a different actor as well. They want to add Thanos for the whole thing. It's a weird request.
There is.
I want to throw out
someone I'm thinking of. Go on,
Vince.
Henry Cavill as Thor.
Henry Cavill is Thor. Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Superman.
Henry Cavill. Okay.
Henry Cavill.
He'd be a great Thor.
He would be. I mean, I think he could nail that pretty well.
I'm seeing him with like as Geralt with the blonde hair kind of thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He's got
like kind of great
physique too. Yeah.
I had him written down for Captain America.
Interesting.
As a little thing, but I think you could be right. I think Henry Cavill could play Thor.
I think so. I mean, thinking about it, you want someone who one can obviously do that physique pretty well, and you want someone who can do that character justice. You know?
Yeah.
I think Henry Cavill could do it because, I mean, we all agree he could have been a really good Superman.
I think he is a good Superman.
Yeah.
For what he is.
It's the material that kind of let him down.
Yeah. Does he have the comedic timing, though, that you need to play?
Yeah, I think I agree more with Adam in that I can see him more as Captain America, but I think that's more because I can see him as like playing that because Superman is quite straight-laced,
narrow,
bit humorless, just like I can see
always
him
does the
in
right
that,
thing.
Yeah, in that role more. Where you're more like the joke, a lot of the time the joke's on him or it's going over his head kind of thing. Whereas
and ripping open the tree trunk is believable when you're built like Henry Cavill.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
that's
like
true.
I can imagine Cavill in that scene in Civil War when he's holding onto the helicopter and just like pulling him in. He's got the biceps to pull that off as well. Whereas,
fun story about that. Henry Cavill was actually the stunt double for that. It's his muscles, you see, as he pulls it in. I've moved Cavill to Captain America for now.
I don't see him doing the comedy that Thor does, especially in Ragnarok and later on in the. I don't think Cavill has those comedy chops for that.
Okay. So if we want someone comedic, let me throw out another name. John Krasinski. Because I think he could probably do it well.
He'd do the comedy well.
He would.
I could see him doing that.
I think, given time, he could actually pull off that physique as well.
But he gets a bit beefed up, doesn't he? What does he do? Jack Ryan? Is it that he does?
Yeah. He looks pretty good in that.
Yeah, he can do it. Can he do the grandiose of Thor though? He's a god.
There's someone I'm thinking of.
I mean, you've seen his beard too, right? Like you've seen him with the beard.
I know you judge gods on their beards. I know that's how you judge them. It's not a bad shout. I could see John Krasinski, doing having a go as Thor.
I've got a shout. One moment. I'm gonna I need to know. Yeah. So it's the guy from the King Arthur film, Charlie.
Charlie.
Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah.
He's popped into my head because he's just got that look down. He's got the long hair.
Sons of Anarchy as well, is what it was in.
Yeah, Sons of Anarchy. Yeah. So, and he's got, he's not as big as Hemsworth, but he can look pretty ripped. I can see him as a Thor. He's got the beard when he grows the beard out.
I could see that. I could see that.
I can definitely see that.
And he can do the blonde hair. He did it for Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
He can fight.
That's
he was in Green Street.
You don't back down, mate. You don't back down.
What do you think about that one, Vince? You see, I'll put both of them in there for now.
I can see it. Yeah,
We'll come back to it.
Working.
Krasinski. Okay. Next, we have the Jolly Green Giant. It's Hulk, and Bruce Banner. So they got to be able to do both. So obviously, but mainly.
That one's going to be hard too, because you want someone who's not quite, as strong, but who can probably play like that kind of broken character as well, of like Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes, to be believable.
And we've had two very different actors play him in the MCU as well.
Yeah. One of them much better than the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although both very good, both very, very, very
good
actors.
actors.
But yeah, I mean, it's
who could play? It's a difficult one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It really is. You want. You also kind of want someone who would look believable in that CGI with that body as well.
Yeah.
I think Mark Ruffalo's face definitely works well with Hulk. Probably not so much in Endgame, but like when we got in Avengers and even Age of Ultron and Ragnarok, it kind of worked well with its face shape.
What about? I don't know if he could do it actually, but I was thinking John Hamm.
Ooh,
John Hamm.
That'd be interesting.
No, that's my Batman. I've been vouching for John.
This isn't the DCEU. This is the MCU. You've also got Cavill, who plays Superman.
I've been vouching for John Hamm for Batman for years, man. He should be Batman.
John Hamm, I could probably see as an Iron Man, though.
He could play an
Iron Man.
Yeah.
But we're keeping RDJ for now.
For now.
But it's an interesting one because
it is.
Number one's the Thor going back, sorry.
Yeah.
Because he can play a lot of good characters and can do grandiose and can be built like a fucking tank as well if you want him to be, is Tom Hardy.
Okay.
He can do big and powerful. Like, look at Bane, the size of him in Bane. But then you see him in like Lawless and Venom. He has the comedic side of him anyway. Peaky Blinders is hilarious, and like, I don't know if he is good enough to play Earth's Mightiest Hero. I don't know if it's the right role for him, but Tom Hardy, put him in any role, is going to be very, very good. But
what if we put him as Hulk?
Tom Hardy as Hulk?
Yeah. I mean, for sure, he would probably get the voice down of the Hulk.
He could do
probably do the also like sullen Bruce Banner too.
He'll be able to do a lot more of the physical stuff, and he could do like the more like.
I don't know if he could play like the passionate side of it. He's a badass usually in everything he does. That's the only side of it. Like, there's compassion in Banner. I'm trying to think.
Have you ever seen him with pit bulls? He was like dog dogs and
He
shit.
does love dogs.
That man has compassion. Yeah. Always trust a man who loves dogs.
He could come across as like, I think he could play, which I don't think he's really done before. He could play like that nerd quite well. You know,
I think
like
he could also be a really good Iron Man, but that's just me. All right, well, I've put Hardy in for Hulk as one of our options right now. We're going to go to Black Widow.
That's going to be hard because there wasn't really much to Black Widow as a character.
Yeah, but you've got to think about we know where they're going to go. But so we recast them now so we can see them grow into more of a fleshed out character. So who would we like to see?
That's rough. That's rough.
It's a difficult one.
Man.
There's a few.
Because so we're resetting the MCU entirely. So should we?
Yeah, you can use actors that are in other roles, like if you wanted to do that.
Evangeline Lilly.
She would be a good shout. Yeah, she'd be a good shout.
Take her from
the Wasp.
What was that? Yeah, from the Wasp. Move her to Black Widow.
Yeah.
Probably be a better role for her anyway.
I was thinking just because of how good her character is and how when you actually see her, she's done a lot of live shows where she's plays so many different characters. But it would be Stephanie Beatrice, who plays Rosa in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, okay.
Wears the leather, badass. Has the emotional side of it in there though, but can play an absolute badass. But would maybe bring some comedy to the role as well, which is sometimes there. Like, I think she's really good. But that might just be me.
It's a good choice.
I think Lily's good though. I'm trying to think who else.
But I also wonder, like, if she could do that, gun fighting. Well, not that Black Widow does much of that anyway.
Yeah, Kate.
It's definitely more martial arts, though. Yeah.
I literally just called her Kate. I mean, Evangeline Lilly. Yeah, Kate from Lost. Come on, like she can handle herself.
That's true. She does have that physical side to her.
Well, what's the woman from? What's her name? Chroma. Is it Chroma? Her surname? She was in. Oh no! Killing Eve.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
The main woman from Killing Eve.
Yes.
She plays an absolute badass in that.
She would be a good show. She's like her own version of Black Widow, isn't she?
Basically, yeah. She is. What's her name?
Have you seen that, Vince? I've only seen the first episode of that, but it's really good.
I haven't, unfortunately. I feel like I need to watch it.
Jodie Comer.
She's like a. Is she a Russian spy?
I think she's Russian in it. I haven't seen all.
Yeah.
But she is incredible in it. Like,
she's like the woman version of like a Russian James Bond. Like just like And
I'm going to add it to one of the possibilities for that one.
Okay.
We've got a few for her. Let's move on. Difficult one to cast this one, I think. Nick Fury.
Oh, I've got it easily. Idris Elba.
Idris Elba would be a great Nick Fury, but I was also thinking of him for potentially playing Thor.
Okay.
Thor.
I think he'd be a great Thor. Like, he's got the presence. I know he's linked with Thor anyway, so I know there's a natural link there, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Big guy. Really good actor. If you haven't seen Luther, please watch Luther. But just to have him in there, I'm gonna put him in for.
I could now you said it. I could see.
Mm-hmm.
I could see him as both. I could see him as Nick Fury, but if I don't know what just made me think this, but if he was Thor, I could see John Hamm as Nick Fury.
Ooh,
Like,
that's
more-
an interesting
yeah.
one.
More like
Yeah.
like a classic Nick Fury from the comics. Like I can see that as well.
Oh yeah.
I've put Ham on the list for Nick Fury. I've put Idris on both, so we'd have to make that decision as we come down to it. Next on our list is Hawkeye.
Yeah.
No one's allowed to
Hawkeye.
say Orlando Bloom because he used a bow.
See,
Like,
I
That
don't
wasn't my
think
go-to, but-
Jeremy Renner is the best casting for Hawkeye.
no, I think he's got better over the things, but
He's got better, but I don't think like from the Hawkeye that I love, like from the comics, I don't think he's. And they may change that with the show. I hope they do, but he hasn't got that kind of light-heartedness, kind of like I know that more. I think that character's a bit too serious for what Hawkeye is. So it needs
So
some.
I have a suggestion for this that kind of fits with that.
Okay.
It is. I'm just trying to remember his name. One second. His name is Taron Egerton.
Ooh, love
Kingsman.
That. Yeah,
Rocket Man.
fantastic in both.
Great actor, can do both. Like,
No,
can
it's a good
absolutely
shout.
do
It's a
the
good shout.
kick-ass stuff. Like, but is a
very good
at the
shout.
same side is a very good actor.
Yeah,
So could maybe give more depth.
I like that. I like that.
Locking that one in. Look at us go. Marvel, hire us. Please don't reboot MCU. Keep going, but
No.
hire us if you
Please
want
don't.
some casting ideas. Next,
For sure.
this is a big one. Like, you have to get this right. Loki.
Low key.
So I've got I threw a few. When I was writing this list, the only two that I could write anything for was Hulk. Thor when I had John Hamm, and Loki. I put two names down, but I don't know if they're right. Might be a bit of a weird choice. One of them is Paul Rudd, because interesting choice. I know because he doesn't get Ant-Man. Paul Rudd, but I think he could do something a bit different with Loki. But it was an out there choice. The other one is Matthew McConaughey.
Oh wow!
Because he can do speeches. He would give you the grandiose, the way he talks. Like Loki's a lot of talking and his delivery. So that was just my suggestions. I could tell by the reaction that I should take Paul Rudd off the list. So
Matthew McConaughey doesn't have like a face like the thing with Loki with what's his name?
Tom Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston, like he's got this face where it's like you can't trust him. Like he's just got this like you need someone
he looks like a piece of shit.
Yeah, you need someone with that. You can never quite work him out what his agenda is and stuff like that. But and I feel like McConaughey doesn't really have that. Yeah, he has the speeches and the talking but he
also needs someone who's that like arrogant about himself, you know? Like kind of like super egotistical, like I'm obviously gonna win, so why even try?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. Well, he might could be a good Loki, to be honest.
What about
how well that would work though?
A little bit older, so it probably wouldn't work with the options that we have for Thor. Would be Christopher Waltz.
Christopher Waltz?
Django Unchained.
Christoph
James
Waltz,
Bond.
Yeah.
Christoph Waltz, sorry, not Christopher Waltz. He's got a face that you can't trust.
Oh man, yeah, I love him as an actor. But is he Loki worthy though?
See, Loki's a difficult one to cast.
He's it's very difficult.
He is.
And it's only because it's been cast, like, you know what I mean? It's like it could have probably been anyone before, but I think because Tom Hiddleston's made that his own.
He really has.
can't
Man,
think.
I almost want to lock him in and go back and, redo Iron Man. Because he might be easier, to be honest.
What are you thinking of redoing Iron Man?
Yeah, because Tom Hiddleston's just such a good choice for Loki.
There's another person you could be. I'm just trying to find his name. Who, from shows that he's done, makes him instantly untrustworthy. So if you guys just want to keep thinking of some suggestions for that while I find his name.
I'm just trying to think of other actors that give across that same kind of vibe,
Yeah. It's hard because for some reason I'm thinking Tom Cruise because he's just an asshole in general. Sometimes he's okay.
I don't think he can play Loki though. Personally.
No.
Oh, how about someone who's actually played Loki? Matt Damon.
That's funny, but yeah, a lot of prosthetics were needed to make that work. What about Ewan Rion?
Who's that?
Who the hell is that?
Ramsay Bolton from Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, he has a punchable face for sure.
Punchable face, can play conniving, untrustworthy, great actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
That's a very good one.
Yeah, he ticks the boxes for what you need for Loki.
He sure does.
And finally on our list before we go back and make... Oh, no, sorry, two more on the list. We have Vision/Jarvis. So it needs to be the voice that will then turn into Vision. Yeah, I think this was probably the hardest one to cast because his voice is so good as Jarvis.
It is.
First of all, probably needs to be an American actor. Whoever it is has to do a good British accent. Because British people work for that sort of voice.
It does, but is Jarvis always British? Like, is that a thing? Or is it just because that he played? Because
I think it's just to play like. I mean, basically, Jarvis is like a butler. British people work better as butlers for voices. Like you think of Thunderbirds and all of that, it's always a British butler. But yeah,
I was thinking more along the lines of someone who can nail kind of that like monotone style voice, something that's a bit flat, not too like I don't know, wild, I guess, the way you would normally do. Because he's a computer, right? So he has that kind of almost gentle tone to it.
He's probably
never really like raises or lowers.
He's probably too old. But Hugh Laurie.
Oh, Hugh Laurie is a shout, and you can see him as Jarvis. Hugh Laurie is a shout.
Absolutely.
Oh, that blows my two options out of the water. My options were going to be either Benedict Cumberbatch.
Interesting.
Because he can do, he's English, but he can do posh and can do stunts and that.
Can't do American, though, that's for sure.
No, not great. The other one would be, and only for the voice, you'd really have to rethink it as an actor. Probably have to recast for Jarvis. Would be Stephen Fry.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking.
Stephen Fry doing the voice of Jarvis would, I like it, but I think Hugh Laurie is hands down probably the best. I wish, and I hope he has the attitude of House.
Very good pull. Oh god,
yeah.
Absolutely.
What's wrong? What's wrong? Why is everything breaking? Well, it's not lupus, I can tell you that. Okay, so far we have Iron Man is staying as RDJ. For the three that we have there is Charlie Hunnam, John Krasinski, and Idris Elba. They're the three that we have locked in there. Hulk, the only one we have so far is Tom Hardy. Captain America we have as Henry Cavill. Black Widow we have as was it Evangeline Lilly? Is it what's her first name?
Yeah.
Is it Evangeline?
Evangeline Lilly.
Yeah, Lily, Stephanie Beatrice, and Jodie Comer. Next, we have Nick Fury is either Idris Elba or John Hamm. Vision is Hugh Laurie. Hawkeye is Joel Egerton. Loki is Ewan Rion. And we just have to cast Thanos.
Thanos.
This is where it gets really hard because you want that menacing, deeper voice. Because I think Josh Brolin really nailed that as Thanos.
I feel like we're missing someone that could have fit a few of these roles as well. That's just come to my head. Ryan Reynolds could fit into a few of these. Ryan Reynolds could play an Iron Man if you were to do this Playboy side of it.
Yeah.
Could also play a Loki if you really want him to. He's a bit too much of a pretty boy, I guess, for Loki. He's probably too good looking.
Well, people love Tom Hiddleston, though. They find him attractive for some reason.
Or he could also play a Hawkeye.
I see it more of like an Iron Man or a Hawkeye.
Yeah,
Maybe more Iron Man.
But then you're moving RGJ out of the role.
Yeah.
Is
probably give
Ryan Reynolds a
Brolin
better Iron Man than Robert Downey Jr.?
He would make it his own for sure.
Yeah.
You know.
Anyway, let's cast Thanos and we'll come back to that.
Let's do Thanos.
Who do we think for Thanos?
Such a hard one too. Because there's not many like big Hollywood voices that super stand out to me. Besides, obviously, we already done Idris Elba twice now, but that it'd be weird to do James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
There'd
be another franchise where he makes an absolute killing. And I think you've got to think about as well the way they carry themselves. I know it's mainly CGI, but they have to carry themselves the same way. And it's not just the booming voice, it's the way he delivers the lines as well. He has a softness to the boom. Yeah. It's a calm. He always talks very calmly. So it rules out a few people, I think. Like, I don't think you could put like The Rock in there, Dwayne Johnson. I don't think is the right. He's got too much charisma for this. Like,
plus you'd want him like as himself, you know. You don't want to put The Rock behind like a CGI character.
No, really. Look what happens with the Scorpion King.
Never forget.
I don't think you could have Dave Bautista. Like, I don't think he can deliver the acting side of it enough.
He's gotten a lot better though.
Yeah, he has got a lot better.
He does pretty good. I don't think he could do Thanos with his voice. I don't know though. He does have kind of that like gentler boom too. I don't know
he
if
does.
he could make Thanos the way Josh Brolin did. That's the hard part.
I know that I know his voice wouldn't work. I just love the way that he delivers lines to people. One would be Jeff Bridges, purely because I love the way he delivers lines. Like, he puts that pause in there at the right time, and he has a softness. But I think his slight lisp would take away from it a little bit from Thanos, but potentially not. The other one would be Denzel Washington. Can you imagine Thanos being Denzel? Probably one of the best talkers in the business. Like, you want a monologue, go to Denzel.
Yeah.
But I don't think either of them would work for this role, obviously.
No.
Thanos is a really hard one to cast.
It really is
hard. It is hard.
It's so unique.
Tom Hardy could work for Thanos as well, though, to be fair.
Did he?
Like,
well,
if you see some, I don't know if you like some of his characters, like, they're just very monotonal as well in the way that he delivers it. Like, it would work, but who could be Thanos? Because they need to have a presence about them. This one's difficult. There'll be a lot of CGI.
Someone who was another MCU villain what the hell was his name? He played Ultron.
Oh,
But
James.
I think he could probably do it. Was it
What's his
James Spader?
Yeah. James
Yeah,
Spader.
James Spader.
Yeah, he had
I
a
mean,
great
not
voice.
a great movie, but he did. I thought his voice was great for Ultron, and I think he could probably bring that to Thanos. I don't know. His voice is very unique, though. Like if you watch him in anything, his voice for Ultron was just his voice. So
He has a great voice, though.
he does.
Mashallah Ali keeps popping into my head, but I don't know
Ooh.
if he would have that same kind of like boom to his voice, but he's got that kind of gravelly, deep voice.
Yeah.
And obviously, we know he's going to be Blade.
Yeah, I kind of don't want to cast him in this because I want him to be Blade.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Who else would you rather
Right.
have as Blade? You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like perfect. But I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited
Yeah.
for that film.
Blade. What
But-
about...
That's a good choice, though.
It would be a good choice. What about... Speaking of Blade, what about Wesley Snipes?
No.
I don't
Wesley
think you want
Snipes
him
battle.
anywhere near an MCU property. No.
Oh, okay. It's difficult, this.
Mhm.
This I find is the hardest one because it's like
They have
Yeah,
to have
it's-
charisma as well. Like, they got to carry
charisma,
this.
the voice, and also be able to do. You know, they've got to be able to do like I imagine Josh Brolin done a lot of the fight scenes, like with
He
the
did a lot of
cast,
the
like-
CGI, yeah. Did it all
Yeah.
mocap.
Yeah, so it's not like you can't just get a booming voice like because one of my favorite voices in all of like well for anything is Keith David, but he's not exactly physically like going to be able to do stuff but yeah.
What was the film that Chris Hemsworth did? Was it Hotel Royale? No, the Motel Royale or the
Bad
Bad Times at the
Oh, yeah.
yeah. He was really good
El
in that
Royale,
as the
wasn't he?
villain. At the El Royale. He
Yeah.
was really good as the villain in that. Like, just saying, Hemi could move over to. We know he's got the build, he's got the physique, and
Be
when you
evil.
see him in that film, he is nothing like anything else he plays. He is methodical in the way he speaks. Like, it's, there's an option. I don't know. You're right. It's the villain is one of the hardest things to always cast. Like, they have to have something about them. What about Adam Driver?
I mean, Adam Driver. His voice is okay.
He's an incredible actor. Like, you see him on SNL, all the characters he has played on SNL as well. Like, he is so good as a character actor.
He's a good actor. I don't think his voice is Thanos. You
Booming
know,
voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
occasionally, but it also like cracks a lot sometimes.
Maybe
He's going
yeah.
through puberty again. I'm
Come on,
really
guys.
liking Mahershala Ali
Mom.
because he
Mahershala Ali.
nails it.
And we lose him from Blade. You can't play both.
We're not getting to Blade yet.
People will get to
What they
Blade.
reused actors before.
Well, that's the thing. We're recasting. You're talking about recasting. This is like would you say
5
phase one,
phases
right?
from now. Yeah.
This is phase one, yeah. But if you bring someone in big, in Thanos is going to. We know Thanos is, I think, originally still in phase one as a teaser, and then obviously he's out all the way through to end of phase 3. So whoever plays Thanos can't then turn up in phase 4/5 as Blade, like
Yeah, but
even though he would be very good at the role, and I don't
Great at the role.
I don't think he'd have a big enough presence voice wise, but I don't think it can happen. Don't think it can happen. 'Cause I want him
What
as
about
Blade too much.
Keith Sutherland?
interesting.
That is a good shout. Kiefer Sutherland
That
is
is.
a good shout. Or Michael Sheen. Is it Michael? No, Martin Sheen. Which is the Welsh one? Is that Martin Sheen or Michael
One
Sheen?
of the Sheens.
Well, no. Well, one of them was in West Wing. I think it's Martin Sheen.
That's Martin Sheen who's in the West Wing. I think.
Okay, Michael Sheen then. He is an incredible actor. and
Yeah.
has a really booming voice, and has done acting sequences before. Or Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson, maybe.
I don't know who you are or what you want.
True, but he's done some superhero stuff before.
He was Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul.
We have Henry Cavill like as Captain America. We have Tom Hardy as Hulk. We have Idris Elba, who was in the MCU, like now potentially playing Thor.
Well,
Gerard Butler.
Gerard Butler is
Gerard Butler's not a bad shout.
Yeah.
But the thing is, this is like all of these choices. I feel like it's like they're not as good. I know we have to recast them, but I'm not gonna like. I don't want
unless
to
you don't recast. Unless you don't recast Robert Downey Jr. and you change that and you make Thor stay as thingy.
Yeah, I think honestly it would probably be easier to recast Iron Man than it would be Thanos, because Josh Brolin just carries that role so well. I mean, RDJ does too with Iron Man, but I think you could probably find someone else to do Iron Man.
So who plays Iron Man?
Who plays
Iron Man? Job. I mean, we've thrown it around before, right? Like
John Hamm,
Ryan Reynolds,
Ryan Reynolds
as well.
John Hamm. I can't not see John Hamm as Nick Fury now. That's the problem.
Yeah,
Benedict Cumberbatch.
That's in my head too.
He basically plays Tony Stark for the first half of Doctor Strange.
That's true. He does do that,
and he plays it well. You do hate him.
Yeah, you gotta do. I don't know how much charisma he brings to that role, though.
If you see him in Sherlock, he's very charismatic in that. He does have it in him. He's not. I don't think there's anyone on the planet that has more charisma than Robert Downey Jr. So I think that's an unfair.
That's true.
Maybe Ryan Reynolds.
What about this? Is really out there. Someone like Denzel Washington.
As Iron Man?
Yeah. I feel like I'm imagining him like in something like Training Day, where he's just like, he's just all like, he's just all charisma all over the place, showboating, that kind of thing.
That is interesting. Still feel Ryan Reynolds though, because even as bad as the Green Lantern movie was, he was still probably the best part of that, doing a decent like Iron Man-ish character in that.
Yeah.
One thing is Ryan Reynolds, like, who's not going to be upset at the end of our end game when Ryan Reynolds' Iron Man dies?
Yeah, Reynolds. Who else? Who did you say? Sorry, Terry. Just then.
Denzel Washington, or I had another one. You mentioned earlier, Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey could play a good Iron Man.
He could,
imagine his character in like Wolf of Wall Street. Like imagine that, just all over the place. Like,
yeah. You know what? I'm with you. Matthew McConaughey, Iron Man.
Matthew McConaughey could be a good shout. Could be a good shout. The other.
Just imagine that last line when, like, in Matthew McConaughey's voice.
All right.
You know what? I am Iron Man.
I'm like Iron Man.
He could pull that off too. I could absolutely see him doing that. Yeah.
He's an incredible actor. He could do it really well.
He's one of the few actors that has that charisma where he just like you just stop and you just listen to everything he's saying.
Christian Bale. We snipe him from. He's done Bruce Wayne really well.
Yeah,
but kind of like a.
But he hasn't got that
Bruce Wayne. Right?
Yeah, he hasn't got that like kind of likability. Like as Bruce Wayne, he plays Bruce Wayne as a very much like tries to push people away.
Bruce True.
Whereas Tony Stark,
I
everyone
think
likes
it's Matthew
Tony Stark.
McConaughey. I think it's definitely Matthew
I think
McConaughey.
it is. Yeah, I think it is.
Okay, so let's take out them. So we still haven't found room for Ryan Reynolds.
Absolutely.
But we have locked
No.
in
We don't need it.
Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey, welcome as our Iron Man. Now we need to settle on Thor. At the moment, we have Charlie Hunnam, John Krasinski, or Idris Elba. As one
I
of the
think
options.
I'm giving it to Idris Elba. Like, I think he could absolutely nail it.
Yeah,
Would
and
be
we've seen
fantastic with
seen him in Asgard.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So we know he could look the part.
So we have Idris Elba as our Thor.
And we get two birds, one stone here, because when we get the Thor, when he has one eye, we're kind of getting that Nick Fury look that we were imagining. Yeah. Imagine that's the Thor I'm imagining with Idris Elba. The short hair, the eye patch, the scar, like
you won't get a blonde wig on Idris Elba. He's not going to play No.
Absolutely not, but
at the moment we have the Hulk as Tom Hardy. Are we locking in
I think
Tom
it's probably
Hardy?
safe to lock that in.
The other option of that is
I can see it, because he can play that kind of bumbling scientist. You can imagine him with the lab coat on, some glasses and stuff, but then he can physically do the stuff. They wouldn't even have to add much CGI. I mean, Jesus, look at him as Bane.
That's true.
The other two dangling, just dipping them in the water would be Joel Egerton or Edgerton.
Edgerton, yeah.
Interesting. Let me see a picture of him.
He's been in a lot of stuff.
As who? As what? As
the Hulk.
Joe Edgerton.
He can do the nerdy look. He's played teachers before as well, but he can fight. He was in the Warrior with Tom Hardy. The other brother.
He could.
Zero Dark 30.
If I'm going to choose him out of him and Tom Hardy, though, I feel like you've got to have that. Like Mark Ruffalo he still has that charisma, as Banner, and
which leads me to my next one.
Yeah.
Wait, just answer this. Hugh Jackman.
What?
I see him more of as a Captain America than a.
You could not have Hugh Jackman as Captain America. He's too old for Captain America. But he could play.
I see what you're saying because of the rage, and he could do like the screaming, all that kind of stuff. But
he's got charisma, the Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
Sing you a little song.
I can't see him much.
We'll stick with Tom Hardy.
Tom
Hardy is our Hulk.
Tom Hardy's a better choice.
Captain America, we've got as Henry Cavill. Has anyone wanted to change that? Is anyone wanting to throw John Hamm into the mix for?
I like that. He's got the chin as well. He'd look good in the mask on.
Next, we have 3 options for Black Widow, and I think this will be maybe a contested one a little bit. We have Lily, Beatrice, and Coma. So
I'm tempted to give it to Coma.
Hmm.
What was her name?
From
Jodie
Jodie.
But she wears a lot of different clothes in that show. She disguises herself a bit, but she. What are you thinking, Terry?
I think so. I think that's a good shout.
Coma. Okay. Well, two get that anyway. So
yeah, I agree.
That gets the majority. I would have gone.
You played Ray's mother in episode 9. That's wild. Yeah, it's listed on our IMDb page.
Nick Fury,
Ray's mother.
Are we going with John Hamm for Nick Fury?
Yeah, it's John Hamm.
Definitely.
I can't unsee it now.
All right, John Hamm. Then we have for Vision / Jarvis, Hugh Laurie, which was probably the greatest shout in all shouts, and I'm mad that he isn't playing. I haven't had.
Oh, come on, though. Paul Bettany is fantastic.
Paul Bettany is great, but Hugh Laurie, come on, he has to be in the MCU somewhere. Hawkeye. We have Taron Egerton.
The
emotional depth.
Just
everyone okay?
Going off subject here, you guys probably knew this anyway, but I didn't know this until recently. But Paul Bettany's wife, I think she's wife, is Jennifer Connelly, isn't it? Jennifer Connelly?
Yeah.
I feel like that sounds right.
Yeah, and she voices the AI in Spider-Man suit.
Really?
So they both voice the AI
The
from two
AI,
different
that's
suits,
cool.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like
And
little things like
yeah, just really, really cool.
that. Okay. So we're going to have Hawkeye as Joel Egerton, giving us that emotional side as well as the charisma and the fighting. Thanos, we're keeping as Josh Brolin.
Yeah, because it's impossible to find someone
So,
else.
Loki, by everyone else has been taken for other roles, we'll go to Ewan Rion
Absolutely.
as
I think you can nail
Loki.
that.
Oh, I can't wait to see Idris Elba and Ewan Rion like square off.
Oh, yeah. That would be great.
So that is our MCU recast. Quick list.
I think it's pretty good. Pretty good cast.
Yeah, it's
there.
pretty good.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
got McConaughey as Iron Man, Idris Elba as Thor, Tom Hardy as Hulk, Henry Cavill as Captain America, Jodie Comer as Black Widow, John Hamm as Nick Fury, Hugh Laurie as Jarvis, Joel Egerton as Hawkeye. Sorry, Taron Egerton as Hawkeye, Ewan Rian as Loki, and Josh Brolin as Thanos. That is a hell of a cast.
Mhm.
Hell of a
Nice
guess.
cast.
Hell of a cast. Join us
Love
next
to
week
see
when we
it.
do Iron Man Avengers 2 and add the Scarlet Witch into the mix. And
Oh, boy.
No.
wait till we get to Endgame. We're gonna recast everyone.
There's so many characters. Yikes.
So many characters. But I think that's a good place to end this episode. We've we've covered a lot of topics, but if Marvel are watching and you want to take some of our ideas, just slide us a little bit of those royalties our way. That'd be great. But yeah, all right, guys. Well, I suppose it's time to say goodbye. So yeah,
Absolutely.
goodbye, Terry.
Goodbye, guys. Goodbye. It's been fun.
Goodbye,
It
Vince.
has been fun. Goodbye, Adam.
Always a
hell of a
pleasure,
day.
never a chore.
Always a pleasure, never a chore.
And goodbye, guys. And as always, stay shifty.
Bye.